Good evening, everyone. Guys, today we're going to be talking about, well, this evening actually, we're going to be talking about the police. And guys, the situation is a lot worse than we thought. And just before we continue with this video, there's a lot of polarization in the country at the moment. Before I do this video, I want to say that I want a strong police force. I want a respected police force. I want strong, robust laws that are enforced by the law. And in that context, I want to, talk about this video. Now, the police service in the United Kingdom is vastly undermanned, and I didn't actually realize how bad this was until I did, I've done a little bit of research today. Well, I've been doing it for a couple of days, but I've finished it off today. Now, what I found is this system of policing that we have at the moment, it's vastly underfunded, it's vastly undermanned, and in some circumstances, it's not fit for purpose. Now, I've got a couple of articles I want to lead with, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to read you the headlines from these articles, and then we'll talk about that afterwards. I'm not going to share this with you guys. I'll put the links in the description. So, where's the one I want to finish on? Thousands of UK police working away from frontline crime amid funding crisis. Gen Z police recruits don't want to work weekends or overtime, and their rotas should take into account their work-life balance, officers are told. Police to be offered £1,200 to tackle recruitment crisis. So I think that's like, to stop them resigning. The scale of crisis facing Met Police revealed as force is not fit to serve Londoners effectively in current state. Police face looming staffing issues with 1 in 5 police officers planning to quit. So that's the situation then with they're just the headlines I've pulled up today of the state of the police service. The police force, I guess, in the United Kingdom. Now, one of the main reasons I feel for this, well, obviously there's a cut in funding. Now, the cut in funding, as I understand it, there was civilian contractors that used to do a lot of the paperwork, a lot of the processing work. But now that cut to funding's happened, those civilians are gone, which is leaving the actual frontline police officers then to backfill that more of an administrational role. So that's one of the problems with the police service. Now, the main problem that I don't think people really understand unless you've been in one of those high-intensity environments. And let me just read you this comment from X. This was from LBC earlier on today. Police are scared to do their job. Police are scared to do the job they're paid to do. I'm scared of making a split-second decision and being criticised by people who don't understand the job. A Met police officer of 16 years tells Tom Schwabrick there are nasty people on social media causing issues for the police. Now, I want to unpack that a little bit for you guys. So let's use the incident that's all there fresh in people's minds. The incident in Manchester Airport where the officer kicked the gentleman in the head. Now, that officer in that situation, if you've watched the whole video, not just the edited couple of seconds where, the officer does kick the gentleman in the head and you look, and when you see the edited version, you're like, oh, wow, what could have led up to that, causing that? Then you see the whole video and you're like, okay. But those officers have a couple of seconds to react to those incidents. When something goes wrong, they all get called in and they get debriefed. And then if there's a criminal investigation, then the lawyers, the legal firms, the jury, the judges, everybody, they can have months, years, as long as it takes to judge how that officer acted within a couple of seconds. Now, imagine, let's just put yourself in that officer's situation for a second. You've left school. You've always wanted to be a police officer. You've always wanted to be a firearms officer. It's just what you've wanted. Some people want to be plumbers. Some people want to be firemen. Some people want to be doctors. Like you name it, okay? That guy, just put this into context. You have always wanted to be that a firearms officer, and that's you now. You've got your job, you're doing your job, you're trying to do everything right and by the book. You've trained a long time for that. We don't just give, in this country anyway, we don't just give people firearms and say, off you go, you're a firearms police, you're a firearms officer now. No, it doesn't work like that. You have to go through training, evaluation, assessments, yearly assessments. I'm probably going to go out there and say you have to do some sort of monthly assessment, to make sure you're at the top of your game. And then you make a decision that you've got a couple of seconds to make. Somebody puts a video online, a heavily edited video online, and people are calling for your resignation. They're calling to defund the police. There's marches, there's protests. You've been suspended. Where's the incentive? Where's the incentive for any of those other officers now? So any officers now who go into a similar situation, what are they going to do? Are they going to act as per their training and their instincts? Or are they going to think, well, I'm just going to let this play out because I don't want to get caught doing, I don't want to be seen doing something and then that video heavily edited and me get the sack. Because, I've got a family to look after. I've got a wife. I've got kids. I've got, house payments. I'm not going to risk my job because I might get caught on social media. And we don't support our police enough. That's what I think, guys. I really do, And being a police officer now, like we've seen, we've got mass problems in recruitment because I don't think they're allowed to enforce the laws. I think they've been heavily politicized. Now, what we've got to understand, guys, here is the distinction between policing and police. When I was at the Rotherham protests like last week or whenever it was, I spoke to a few of the police officers. I'm ex-military myself. I've got no issues going and talking to these guys. I know what it's like. So I talked to a few of them. And, they were just normal guys. Or I had a little bit of a conversation with them, a couple of banter with some. Yes, one of them in particular, one of the drivers, was very rude. But the other guys were, this is what I mean, guys, right? The policing in this country has become heavily politicized. And the police, the coppers, for want of a better term, they're actually, men and women who actually want to do a good job, and they're just trying to do the job that they wanted. And now what we've seen in the United Kingdom is mass drops in recruitment for the police. So here's the terrifying thing. Who's going to fill those roles? Who's going to fill those roles? Who have we got? Have we got any men that could be, pushed into the police service? Have we got groups of people that could be used to police certain areas? Guys, I'm not saying this is being done by design. I'm saying this is the reality of the situation. We've got a police service that it's not allowed to do the job that they wanted. And for political reasons, I really do think they're having their hands tied. And I know a lot of you are going to say, oh, the police are this, the police are that. I've done a lot of work with police, being ex-military. We did a lot of cross-training with the police, especially the armed ones. And they're solid guys. They're not as good as the military at, tactical stuff, but they do a lot more policing. So it's kind of you can't really put them on the same scales. When the military are called in, everything's gone wrong, and the military will close that down within a couple of hours. Obviously, the police, they have to do policing. Their role is a lot different. But that's the situation, guys. We've got a police service that's been heavily downgraded, demoralized. I'm not going to say destabilized because no, it's not been destabilized. It's definitely been demoralized to a state where we are now. We've got officers who are scared to make split-second decisions because of they may have videos put on social media and get the sack. We need to protect our police service, and we need strong, robust laws that everybody abides by. We can't have one law for someone else and one law for someone else. We can't have one set of policies for one person because they complain, or we can't have another set of policies for another person because they think that's all right. No, if you're in this country, you should abide by our laws, and the police should be there to you know, enforce those laws impartially. And that's the problem. I feel this has come from higher up, and it's been heavily politicized, because, you know, I think a lot of the police will agree with what a lot of these people, what a lot of the sentiment is in the United Kingdom at the moment. Yes, of course, you know, you've got people who are, you know, of course you're going to get police who are scumbags, like any profession, like any walk of life. And I think because of the distrust, the lack of what's the word I'm looking for? The lack of security for the police, then the people who want to be police and the good and standing, you know, citizens, they think, well, you know, I could join the police, but if I do something that somebody else deems that's not nice, then I'm going to get the sack, and then, you know, my pension's gone, my house, my car, my kids, my wife, you know, all the rest of that stuff. You know, because people have to provide for their families, and that's the situation, you know. And then you get these other people who will literally just do exactly as they're told, and they'll police however they're being told to police, regardless of what their, you know, their morals and their internal compass says. Anyway, guys, that is it for this video. I'm going to back to grid, and I will speak to you guys later. Don't forget to like and share. Really helps me out when you do that, guys. I'll speak to you soon.